Hey, this is Soma79 with a special announcement. My new Mega Mix is up. My MF Doom Mega Mix, Oxidation Moons Day, is now available. Go to www.soma79.com/doom to check it out. It's a 30-minute mix that I did of MF Doom raps over my own beats. I really enjoy it. I hope you really enjoy it. So check it out. Tell a friend. Peace. Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your guest, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining us today. My guest today is Boston hip hop legend XL the Beast. This dude just kicks knowledge from the beginning of the podcast to the end of the podcast. We talk about Boston hip hop history. He's only a couple years older than me, but those few years between us really marks a pivotal moment in Boston hip hop where a lot of things really change. And we talk about some of that history here. Some of it's kind of new to me, and it's all very interesting. We talk about all things hip hop here, all things life. He's a great dude. Check out his music. Hope you enjoy the episode. Talk to you. Peace. Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. I'm very excited to have my guest, XL the Beast, with me today. What is going on, man?
What up, B? How you doing?
Good, man. Boston hip hop in the house. Like, I thought I'd been in the scene a long time. You got me beat by a few years. You were living in Boston hip hop during some of the years when I was just sitting in the small town of Hopkinton, like counting the cows. And I didn't even know the scene was even going on, man. It was like a big deal for me to have a Snoop Dogg tape then. And all this shit was happening, a marathon away, and I was missing it. So
yeah.
What's up, man? What are you up to today?
Well, listen, I'm just grinding, man. You gotta love the grind, or you're gonna suffer. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So to everybody out there hustling and grinding, stop worrying about the end result, man. You got to embrace and love your grind, or you'll never be happy. Because even when you reach that height of success, you'll find something else to be miserable about anyway. So love the process, and if you're an artist, just create for the sake of creating.
It's like Royce the 5'9" says. He tells the people, and they come to his Heaven studio. He's like, every time they write a verse, he's like, write it again. You got to love that process of spending time to get that one extra word right, man. It's so satisfying when it happens.
I agree, man. I think too that I think sometimes artists let themselves get in their own way. Yes. I think a lot of times that you got to understand something, okay? From my point of view, from where I'm coming from, we got antennas. They reach way up, okay? And the better your clarity about who you are, and more importantly, who you aren't, and managing your expectations, you're able to kind of receive that input from wherever in the universe that shit come from. So, for an artist like myself, as soon as I put a lot of my own bullshit away, I was able to receive some really good messages. And that's why now at this point in my career, I'm writing the best music I've ever written in my life. You know what I mean? So
hard as fuck, man. I listened to Apex Predator a bunch today. I was happy I got to be the 666th listed on one platform that I checked it out on. So I felt special about that. And it's funny. I've been listening to a bunch of your stuff today. I didn't realize about 5 minutes ago you had Maroney on Heavy Hands. He was a dude.
Oh, yeah, that's my guy.
Crew. Yeah, he was in my crew, Project Mayhem, back in the day. It was me, him, and
Posh. Project Mayhem. Yeah.
Judge the Disciple, Oblivious. I was part of that whole thing for a while.
I love that guy, man. I love Maroney, man.
I was there when he first started rapping, because he was like 16 or 15, and I was like 20. I was the oldest in the crew, and he was the youngest. And he was basically still in high school. And I remember driving him home with my girlfriend and being like, I can't explain to you why we're in our late 20s and I'm driving high school kids home from hip hop show, but they're way more talented than me. And but that dude, I remember recording with him once. We were on a song together, and he was busting on me so hard for having to do my dubs like twice. And I'm like, this kid's a little ball buster, but he was
a little ball breaker. But that's what he's good at, breaking balls. You know what I'm saying?
He is. And I remember his I think when I first started hanging out with those dudes, he wasn't rapping at first time I met him. Then almost overnight, I heard the song that he was on. I'm like, who is that? Like, that's Maroney. And I'm like, damn, this dude's got it.
So yo, I saw Maroney out and about somewhere. I can't remember where, but then when I met him, I was with my homie Slane. We were at
Yep.
the bridge with Archetype,
Yep. I
and he
remember he
came
did some
through there
stuff
to
with
rap.
Slane. I think he was
Yeah,
battling.
yeah.
I think that's something that Slane was putting on that night or something.
Yeah, he did, but he was at the studio with us because me and Slane was working on a joint together. I think it was The Problem. It
Yeah.
was me, Slane, and Terminology for Slane's A World with No
Some heavy
Skies
hitters.
2.0. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We went in
Definitely
there
be
and
known.
killed
It
it.
was a big deal when Maroney got called in to work with you guys because we all heard about it and we were like, what? Like, it was like,
Yeah, that was my man Slane was always, on the lookout for talent, and I was the same way. I always enjoyed working with up and coming artists from Boston. I kind of have an affinity towards that, recognizing talent and working with a lot of the kids because, it's hard, man, without any direction.
it is.
And if and if I can add to somebody's life, if I can add to their music, if I can give them that little bit of energy or a little bit of boost, and it keeps them interested and pushing, and then you never know, something beautiful come from anywhere. You know what I mean? You got to keep an open mind.
Exactly. I got a little, so it's funny. So when I was I will get to interviewing you in a second. Sorry, I'm keep telling my story.
All right. It's all good. No, it's all good.
I had this thing that happened to me years ago so I was doing Project Mayhem and Mike Monarchy after that. We do some lead show. We probably played some of the same shows back in the day. I opened for like Ill Bill and like the Rugged Man and Onyx and stuff. And so then I kind of like I had this revelation. There was a couple people. One, I looked at Judge the Disciple next to me and I was like, this dude has like, he's basically has that KRS-One thing where it was like he was born to do this. And I didn't have any of that. And I felt like a lesser MC. And then I looked at Esoteric, who was sort of a similar upbringing to mine. And I was like, okay,
that's
this
my
guy,
man. No,
he's like the model.
Monster.
Yeah, he's the best. And then but I was like, but I make my own beats. And then he put out Serve or Suffer on the same time. Like, this dude makes beats too. I felt totally outclassed. And then I was sitting in traffic one day, and this Percy P and Diamond D song came on, Two Brothers from a Gutter.
Ah, yeah, of course.
That was the moment that I quit rap for 10 years because I'm like, Percy P, I'll never be like him. And I'm actually right now working on a song with Percy P. And I'm just like,
I love Percy P.
He's amazing.
And I love that. Dude, Diamond D is like got gold status with me. Like Diamond D is Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop, one of the like top 10 greatest hip hop.
I just got that on vinyl a few weeks ago. I kept spinning it, man. That whole crew is unbelievable.
The whole DITC, and everybody, like they were all really close to with Preem, and you know what I mean. And like all those guys, they ran, like Lord Finesse. All those guys are just man. I can remember hearing Finesse rap. I think I heard Finesse rap, and then Big L came out, and I was like, damn. I'm like, these guys are all fucking like, holy shit, right? I couldn't believe it. Yeah, but Diamond D for me is an archetypal musical figure. That's on the bucket list. I'll work with Diamond D. I'll work with him soon.
Finesse and Esoteric did a show out by me. I'm out by UMass Amherst. They did a show with his new
you out west.
Yeah, they did a show with this new place called Daily Operations out here, which is obviously tribute to Gang Starr. So
of course,
starting to get a little scene out here. Finesse was killing it,
Yeah, he's dope, dude. Those guys are pros, man. Look, they came like this is the funny thing. They came out of New York, and we don't understand, but like that's like obviously the birthplace of hip hop. You know what I mean? But they had like so many more advantages of just being in that city than we ever had here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like they just had so many advantages that we did not have here, that artists just didn't have here. You know what I mean? So
and the whole Babe Ruth thing would happen too. They would suck our. That's probably harsh to say it, but like
that's true.
It's only 3 hours up the road. You understand why that's where Guru made his home, especially in that time.
Well, I mean, look, the number one problem in Boston has always been the same. We don't have a radio station here.
Right.
We don't have a radio station.
We used to be 88.9. Okay? We don't even have that anymore.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but anything would be good.
Look. I'm not gonna say we didn't have anything. Okay, Leko Slimas back in the late '70s. Magnus started over at MIT. That was the first place to start really playing hip hop. And then we had WILD, which is an AM channel that played a lot of local town, a lot of hip hop. And then we had 88.9 at night. We had 94.5. We had like Launchpad, G Spin. All those, salute to those guys, were great.
WZOU
You know what I mean?
before it was jamming.
Yeah, right. And but then you know, and then we had Hot 97 for like a minute. And look at all the careers, the big careers. Look at Static Select.
I know.
Peter Parker.
I would say Peter Parker too.
Clinton Sparks.
Yeah.
All these guys, you're just from that one station.
Yep.
Now, here's something that'll bug you out.
I'm ready.
For me, Gang Starr is like the gold standard of hip hop.
Yeah.
Like, all right, like DJ Premier is, you know, to me, he's my favorite.
Yeah.
And he's one of the great. So it's like that guy has not deviated from his formula, not one bit. He don't have headphones. He don't sell weed. He don't sell vitamin water. Right. He don't, you know what I mean? He don't have like beats. He DJs, he makes beats, and he produces. And you want to know something? He's still relevant.
Yeah.
Okay. And has not missed a step. Now, the funny thing is when you think of Gang Starr, you think of that Premier, like that boom bap
with
or that
dusty
like hardcore.
Sound. Yeah.
But you think New York. You think that's hip hop, like bong, right?
Right.
2 out of the 3 members of the founding of Gang Starr are from New York. I mean, from Boston, not New York. 2 out of the 3 members of that made up collectively Gang Starr. And there were also like Gang Starr Posse and guys like that from Boston, right? Excuse me. But like 2 out of the 3 members of Gang Starr are from Boston. And Premier is from Texas.
Yeah, it's from Austin, I think.
Right? Right? Yeah. Yep. So I'm saying, like, so of the gold standard of hip hop, 2 of the founding members are out of Boston. So listen, it's got nothing to do with talent. It's got nothing to do with talent. Dude, Edo G, Big Shug, Almighty RSO, those guys are like, they have certified hip hop classics. Record classics. Okay, real classics. Everybody say, well, I'm making a classic. No, you're not.
No,
settle down, all right?
It's
People throw that word around like they throw the word gold around.
God, yeah. And like then it becomes instant classic. When people start saying instant classic, I'm like, get over yourself. Like the last instant classic record I think I heard was Cuban Links 2. For me, that was the last time I heard someone say that, and I'm like, I think you may be right. And I still think it's close, you know. But it's such a thrown around bullshit term. It's like calling food gourmet and apartment luxury. It means nothing anymore.
It means nothing. Everything has been so cheapened because societally we've become weaker. I think you know what I mean. I think people are we are as divided now as we ever have been, and we're fighting with each other about people we don't know.
Yes.
Instead of working together, fighting the people that don't know us.
Right. We're bickering about nonsense as the world burns, essentially.
Well, I'm saying, and like, you know what? Like, you and I have more in common with one another, and me and a guy that I don't even know that works a job and makes music, him and I have more in common than we do with people that try to speak for us but don't know us.
Right.
So it's like, you know, but people would rather have us fighting with each other, and that way we stay divided and we don't pay attention. So we need to let that stuff go and start looking next to you, left and right, and being like, yo, you and I got more in common in this other stuff. You know what I mean? People need to get back to this, conversating, communicating, talking, sharing ideas, you know?
Yeah. So I wanted to bring us back a little bit too. So the reason so the way this podcast has kind of worked is one guest has sort of ended up begatting another guest, whereas I got to interview this guy. I was a big rave kid at the same time. The CEO of Moonshine Music, Steve Levy. I always want to talk to him. He was on the episode. So I had to do some prep. I pulled up this old issue of Herb, which I'm sure you recognize the cover of.
Yeah, of course.
And then I was I read the article I wanted to. They were so happy to come upon this picture, the Boston Beatdown, featuring like, I mean, a who's who of the scene. This was, I think it must have been 2000, 2001 or so.
About that.
Yeah, 2001. Yep. So we got here, I don't have my glasses on, but we got the whole creators crew.
Minus Jason ain't there.
Okay, yep.
Big One, G Squared, and myself. We got Edo, Mr. Lift,
Acrobatic.
Acrobatic, my man. Mr. Lift, my man. Edo, my man.
Fax One.
Yep, Fax One.
Insight.
Shout out
Insight
Fax
was the one I forgot. Insight. Oh man,
yep.
was that guy down? I haven't looked up him in a while.
Yo,
I gotta check him out.
Insight is awesome. So is Fax One, makes dope beats.
Yeah. I was big on the perceptions.
Dope.
But one thing, it is interesting in reading that article. It reminded me of the shitty little walk of fame outside of Tower Records with Guru's star, where it was just like it was. I'm glad it was there, but it was almost like, well, why even bother? But like, then it talked about how, and this was the stuff before my time in the scene, it mentioned just how it was a violent scene back then. It mentioned there was a gun, there was someone getting shot at a Black Sheep concert. And I was like, there's a Native Tongue concert. I mean, so what was the scene like? Because when I started going to the scene, I think it was really, I went to BU. I grew up in Hobbiton. I went to BU and I really
it was a different time for you, man. It softened up by then.
I know.
Okay, so.
And this talked about how there was Cambridge and Roxbury and nothing in between. I think it's still like that today, or it was last time I was there, you know?
Well, I mean, look, the scene now is really kind of cool. You know what I mean? The vibe is totally different. It was very violent. So here's what you have to understand: we didn't have like live venues to do shows anywhere, and we didn't have a radio station. They wouldn't let hip hop be played on Lansdowne Street. Like the Lyons Brothers wouldn't allow that back then.
I remember that.
So we didn't have anywhere to go to listen. We didn't have anybody to play our records. So you have like, here's one thing you got to remember, right? Back then, it wasn't like it is now, where you can go to the studio for 75, 50 bucks, 60, 75. It was like $250 an hour, bro. And you had to have reel-to-reel tapes because there was no computer recording, Pro Tools. There was none of that.
You had to actually know how to rap.
Dude, you had to have Ampex reel-to-reel tape. And when you went in there, you had to handle your business. So dudes had to have money behind them, and you either got money from the street or you find it somewhere else. But so there was a lot of pressure on you to succeed. And when you're in a small place like Boston, there's got no places to really do live shows and nothing else. And Boston had a whole bunch of different kind of crews from different parts of the city that didn't see eye to eye. And there was mad squabbles and it was crazy beef. And dudes just, people were on top of one another, and people were mad frustrated in the music industry because they're spending all this time and all this money not getting any shine. You know what I mean? And it's like temperatures and things boil over. So yeah, man. I mean, it was crazy violent. I mean, I can't tell you how many fights I got in. How many times I had to fight my way out of something, or you'd hear gunshots definitely go off. People were getting shot, stabbed, stomped out. It was wild. So it was amazing. Tough. It was a tough time.
Even like in my, when I was doing stuff in like the mid 2000s, it's like at a certain point, rappers just kind of want to fight. They sort of just are looking for a beat because they think it's going to get them attention, and they I don't know, they just they're angry.
Yeah, see, not back then. That's not how this went. See, in Boston's a small place, okay? Right. So this is where, like, okay, now I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say everybody is faking the funk and everybody's just an entertainer, but a lot of these dudes are just entertainers, okay? Right. And they talk because they're playing a role. Back in the day, you couldn't say no shit and not get called out on it. Right. So, and when you're in Boston, if you get slick on a record, somebody's going to come see you about that. Yeah, and there's nowhere to run to. and you're going to have a problem. So you got to be ready to deal with the outcome. And it was intimidating. You had to watch what you say because you'd be out, hanging out, chasing girls and not know it. And you turn around and there's 3 or 4 guys there and you got a problem. You know what I mean? If you're dolo.
When you say saying slick, it's sometimes just one line. It's like now we do these diss songs that are 10 minutes long, but sometimes back then it would just be one crooked bar that the people know.
Somebody misinterpreted.
That happens too.
If somebody misinterpreted something you said, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
So you got conditioned to learn to deal with that. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, let me deal with this. It's gonna be what it is. It is what it is. After a while, you get sick and tired of kissing people's ass, basically, or avoiding problems. And you're like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna go for it. And it is what it is. After you get past those first couple of like rumbles or whatever, or beefs, and you handle your own, people know too that you're not a soft target. They're not going to really play with you. So, but you have to earn that. And respect that comes at a heavy risk.
Yeah,
it is, but it's a heavy risk, man. It's not the movies. It's not TV. You know, you hit somebody in the bar, they fall down, they crack their neck off the side of the bar, and they die. That's it for you.
Yeah,
You're going to jail. You're going
it
to prison
happens.
forever. You know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
happens a lot. It's
It does.
Yep.
So it's like it was violent, but you know, it started coming around more. You know, like what happened was they wouldn't let us do nothing on Lansdowne Street, but we used to go play over at the Rathskeller in Kenmore Square.
Yeah, Ken Morse, the Rat. Yeah.
Okay, and the Rat was dope because that's where we met a lot of the hardcore kids.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the original hardcore kids, like that had all the awesome hardcore bands.
Was like Slapshot? Was that one of those bands? Were they around back then?
Yeah, Colin of Arabia, Big Block 454, like those really like Death Before the Sun, like those guys, like hard bands.
Yeah.
And like, so they threw us over there. They threw the hip hop kids and the hardcore kids over there, thinking we were going to tear each other apart, having no idea that we all loved the same stuff.
Right.
And we got this union. We were like,
yeah. It's like punk and reggae. They always got together. They always got along too, man.
That's right. The ska, the punk, the reggae, all that. So we were all cool. You know what I mean? So it's like we all became mad cool, and then things changed over time. They started letting us do more shows. Then, like, you know, the Western Front in the Middle East opened up and allowed us to start doing shows. And things started to loosen up a little bit. And then it became a little less violent. You know what I mean? Like as time went on, because people had more outlets. Right. Then when social media and the internet really exploded, you had a lot of people then had opportunities to share their music worldwide, and things kind of got chilled out a little bit. You know what I mean? Like people weren't really as violent anymore.
Was the Middle East really a game changer? Because I know for me, that was when I first started going to shows in Boston, because that's when it first started landing on my radar. And then from almost day one of going there, it was consistent. And I don't know when Leeds came on, but I'm sure he had a lot. You know, I don't know when he started booking shows, but he must have had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, you should get him on here and ask him.
I haven't talked to him in a while. I think the last time him and I talked on the phone was about 14 years ago, and it didn't end well, but he probably doesn't remember that.
Well, no, I'm sure he doesn't. I was on the phone with him like 3 hours ago. Yeah. So
he's a good. I mean, he's done so much for the scene. He's I don't know. He's really
curated. He has curated so much hip hop and so much music for the scene. And you know, he puts out records.
Yep.
He has a playlist. He's always doing stuff, and he has a podcast of his own. Where he highlights a lot of local talent.
Yeah, he's done a lot. He's kind of put his money where his mouth is to actually help this local talent and grow the scene.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, he's my manager. He manages me in my career, so I trust him. You know what I mean? He's a good dude. He came on the scene in the 2000s. I was kind of like mid 2000s. I started because before that it was Metro Concepts.
Okay, that name sounds very familiar. I haven't heard that in a while, but I definitely know that.
Yeah, Tim and O'Neill. Yeah, they had Metro Concepts, and then Static Selector worked over there with them too. And then Leeds knew them, and then they were kind of phasing out of it, and Leeds came into it, and then he kind of took the ball and went to a whole new level, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, like the internet and all that shit. People started sharing music, and it allowed people to get like guest spots and features that you couldn't get before, because you had to go get those guest spots when you were around people. And now you can send files and email. Changed everything.
It's funny you mentioned the internet too. So the last person I interviewed, this dude, Jared Eagle, he's in Florida, and he's making this. He just finished a Kickstarter, raised about 40 grand. He's making this stop motion documentary in the life of Orson Welles that's told through the lens of the Transformers. I'm gonna get to the point in a second. As part of the Kickstarter, he got Esoteric to record like an EP worth of like, I haven't heard the music yet, but it's like Transformers themed Orson Wellesian stuff that's only available for this project. And you have to like $500 to get. There's like gonna be 40 records put out. And this just ended, but there's a bunch of the records will be available in Boston. I told the guy I try to help get the word out about it, because a lot of those didn't go, but I know people are going to want those. And I'm like, well, how did he land on your radar? Because it's like, I know Esoteric because he's the MC from a couple towns over, essentially. But like he was like I heard the Be Alert sample, and he's like, I downloaded that back, because I had the Transformers on 7 Esoteric's Be Alert, and he's like, I was a fan from that day of hearing that. And it's like they were, I mean, that's exactly it. If that song came out 2 years before, the internet probably wouldn't have been there to have that song get to Florida and have all this other stuff happen.
That's very true. Yeah. Yeah, it really benefited a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and it benefited our city too because it definitely helped ease the tension of a lot of people that had invested a lot of time, effort, and money into their career and felt like they weren't. It wasn't even that they weren't like winning; they just weren't getting any play. They weren't getting any attention. Nobody saw them. They didn't feel like they had a shot.
Right. They're all competing for like maybe one spot that may exist, if that. It's
exactly.
Like,
just people want to be seen. People want a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want a shot, man. They want to have a shot at it. And in a city that ain't got no major radio play or nothing and no traction, that's frustrating. And when people get frustrated, they get angry. When people get angry, they get bitter. When they get bitter, they want to fight. You know what I mean? Get a couple drinks in them. They see somebody else getting a little bit of shine, they hate you for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like it might seem petty, but I can understand it.
And one night of violence at the wrong time can hurt the scene for years and years to come.
Oh, dude, it is so many times. It's just killed movements and like, I mean, like city was wild, man, because it was so small. You couldn't run from beef. There was no other borough you were gonna. What were you gonna run from Dorchester to Cambridge?
Right. Yeah.
You're gonna run from Cambridge to Roxbury? Oh, what? And I'm not gonna drive 10 minutes over the bridge looking for you.
I know traffic's not that bad.
Like, no, I'm just saying now it is. But I'm just. Sorry about that.
I know it.
Hop a train. I could hop a train and come find you.
Yeah.
So there was no room for any of that. You know what I mean? But it's definitely different now. The vibe is different. The crowds are different. The mentality is different. So I like it a lot better now. It's a lot more chill. You know what I mean?
You probably get a lot more of a diverse crowd too. I see a lot more women at shows than I used to. I see a lot more people feel comfortable
because it's not so violent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's true.
So I don't know. This is kind of a random question. When we talked on the phone the other day, I mentioned this to you, and I pulled this record out, and I bring this up only because some of the names on the back of this record really blew my mind. Now, Big Men on Campus. This came out in 1988. It was a single. This guy right here is Jonathan Schechter, one of the co-founders of the Source magazine.
Yeah, Schechter, yep.
Yep. And then on the back, production assistance by Boogie Down Productions, executive producer Brett Radner, and the photograph was taken by Glenn Friedman, like legendary photographer. And I was just like, I just bought this one day because it was like $2 and it looked weird. And when I looked at the back, I'm like, all of these names were essentially working in Boston hip hop with, I don't want to say these two goofballs, but this is probably like they heard License to Ill and were like, we can do that,
Yeah, we can do that. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, but it's just lightning in a bottle.
Did you have any? Because I mean, obviously, I think they call him Shecky Green, John Schechter. The Source magazine's huge. Any of us would have killed to have our stuff in the Source. Was this whatever this was at this time in any way on the radar of the scene that you remember? Because I always found this is a weird oddity that I stumble upon in my collection sometimes.
No, I never. I can't ever remember seeing it. I know that. I know that we were. Back then when I was young, you had to go buy records, or if your DJ was in like a record pool, you would get to hear new stuff. Yeah. But like, you couldn't stream anything or go to YouTube and check out somebody's music. Right. Like you had to go to the store and buy it, right? So
what was a record pool?
If you didn't. So the DJs like my man G Square was in the record pool, and they were like, there was a conglomerate of DJs and people that would get together and they would send you vinyl early. Like I was with G Squared when we got the first Wu-Tang single, Method Man and Protect Your Neck.
Hope he held on to it.
Oh yeah, he held on to it. But it's a white record. It's a white label.
Yep.
And they hand wrote on it Wu-Tang Clan, Protect Your Neck, and the other side was Method Man.
Yeah,
and we
talk about that in some of the documentaries
when we heard that.
Yeah, man, I can't imagine.
So I was there. I was there for that. I think in the same record he got Channel Live with KRS-One, Spark Madism.
God.
I think Yeah, all we did was spark madism, and we were like,
Yeah.
"Oh snap!" We bugged out, right? We were like, "Oh man."
Everything
Yeah,
was
I
great back.
remember.
That's the thing is though, back then it took so much to actually get out there. Almost everything that came out was great. Like I remember going to like my Sam Goodies or whatever and seeing the two little rows of cassette tapes they had and memorizing
Yeah,
all of them and being like, well, I can only
of
afford
course.
some of these. And then now I find myself as an adult going back and buying the ones I never got back in the day. I finally got the DJ
Yeah.
Quick's first album and I'm like, how have I never
Oh
heard this?
yeah.
It's fucking amazing. And
Yeah,
it's
Quick's
just,
album that was a great album. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's what's wild to me is that when I look back now, I think of like I got to hear a lot of hip hop early because my man was the DJ and we were always together. So I got to hear those, and he would make like a mixtape for me, and I'd rock the mixtape. Um, but like I got to hear a lot of hip hop that a lot of other people didn't hear. I got to hear records that never came out and records that were never released because I was in rooms or in studios with people and heard records like Edo played me. I remember being in the car with Edo and he played me like 4 or 5 joints off an album that he didn't release. And it was like, I was like, hey, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, this is wild.
there's a
And
lot
I
of
was so
unreleased hip hop
lucky.
out there. I mean, a lot of it too
Oh
for
my God.
sample clearance reasons is one big reason, and the other
Yes.
one is lack of
Yep.
opportunity for distribution. But there's so much on like, you know,
But what you're talking about too is that I think, what has happened is back then it did take it was a longer process to record, to mix, master, to press records, to press CDs or cassettes, right? And so the maturation process, so you would get an album and you would ingest it, the whole thing.
yeah,
Or you would get a single and you would ingest that, and then somebody else would release a single, you ingest that. Now it's like bang, 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 bang. People just are releasing music all the time. It's like a race. Like they want to put
yeah,
out 50 albums in a year. And I'm like, bro,
yeah,
how can anybody ingest that kind of music?
yeah,
Like I don't understand it because I won't work at that pace. I won't.
right,
You know what I mean? Like if I had more resources, I would probably release new music a little more frequently, just because I would have more time to
yeah,
record it and shoot videos and stuff like that. But like I like nobody puts albums out anymore. Nobody cares about ingesting a whole album and riding with it for a month. We are like a single serving community now. We're like a people that want instant gratification, and after you've heard it for a week, it's old.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I can't remember the last time I heard a banger that stayed a banger to other people. Like I've heard bangers in the last, I don't know, the last 2 3 years that I think are still bangers.
yeah,
Like, and I'm like, but I bet you none of y'all play this anymore because
yeah,
y'all on to the next thing. And I see artists doing it too. And I'm not gonna knock the hustle, but a lot of it is like that Griselda hustle,
yeah,
where they were putting out mad music, right? And they were putting out mad like t-shirts and all this merch, and they were really had a method to their madness. Like they were really slinging it,
yeah.
and then
Because if
everybody
you think there's no
copied that
opportunity in
scheme,
Boston, there's no opportunity in Buffalo. I've been to Buffalo.
right?
That's a tough place to I'm sure get anything going. It's cold as
Yeah, I
fuck out there.
imagine. It is so cold out there, yo. But they changed that, Griselda. Shout out to them, man. They
God, they
killed
did
it,
something amazing. Yep.
Yeah, they really did. I'm really happy for them, man. And then I like their music too.
Yeah, me
Everybody on
too.
there, I like.
It's one of those things that it's like, it doesn't sound, it's somewhere between the Locks and Wu-Tang for me. It kind of fits like kind of sonically
It's
between those two.
it like, but like it's like super grimy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah,
like it's like
yeah.
because I like that too. You know what I mean? I
Me
like
too.
that grimy stuff
Well, that's
too.
fun because I was looking at some of the people that you've worked with, and it's a real who's of like real like rock chewing MCs, like Rockness Monster, Ill Bill, Sean Price, Rex, Shabam Shadid. Like it's like you really work with these real heavyweight motherfuckers.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah.
And you're too.
So
I mean, you got the similar style too. It pounds really hard.
It does. So thank you. Shout out to all those guys, man. Shout out to all those. Those are all my peoples, man. They're
Super talented.
I have relationships with all those people. Some closer than others, but a lot of them I respect. And see, here's my thing. I believe that steel sharpens steel, and if I'm gonna work, I like to choose guys that I know that are killers. And it's
Exact
number
same
one
way.
because I like to make I like to make dope music. That's what it's always the goal is to make something really great. So I like to work with murderers, man, because first of all, it's all about making dope music, right? Make something great. But I also like that pressure.
Yeah.
Because that's how you make diamonds. And I feel like if especially if it's a certain type of song, like if I know we're making a real hardcore bar for bar song, I'm gonna try to kill everybody on there. And I know they're gonna try to kill me and everybody on there. Yeah. So what happens? Styles make fights, right?
Yeah.
So when you get two guys in the ring that really want to go at it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're gonna get a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
But I think so.
In the last year or so, I've done about 10 songs with copyright. And it's like, I'm like, that
copyright's
dude,
great.
Yeah, it's like if you're in a song with him, he's gonna have a few lines in that song that you're like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? And he actually one today. He sent me one at 2:30 this morning. He sent me this track we just finished called Wheel Snipe Selly with me, him, and Wordplay, the flyest MC, this battle rapper from Alaska, and he absolutely destroyed it. I've been listening to it like on repeat all day in between your music.
I like that. That's great.
But like I'm like that too. It's like I go after, like I just did a couple songs with Elza, and it's like if I can hold my own with Elza and at least not be embarrassed, I know that I've gotten somewhere,
Yeah, listen, I mean, you got to have your own metrics and measurements for your improvements, right?
Yeah.
So like when I like Rockness Monsters, Jesus, dude. I mean, that guy, he's like in another place. You know what I mean? Like it's like he's just. And Ill Bill obviously is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Probably
Sean doesn't get the credit he deserves. I think Ill Bill, for the talent he is, I think he didn't get the credit he deserves. I think he's just so slick.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a really devout base.
That is true.
And, they really propel him. You know what I mean? And justifiably so. I mean, he's earned that status. Slane is another one that I work with who's an absolute killer.
Yeah.
Slane is a monster of a whole different kind.
Yeah.
He can do so many things that other people can't do.
Yeah, he's a damn good actor too.
He's great. He's multi-talented, and he opened up a treatment facility to treat people with addictions.
I heard about that because in my time off from hip hop, I remember him from the previous days, and then I just sort of didn't really know what happened with him, and then I heard about that, and that really warmed my heart. It's like I like when that way.
Dude, he's come full circle.
It's awesome.
He's come full circle. Yeah, I'm really proud of him. That's family. So yeah, I mean, I've got to work with a bunch of color artists, man. There's a couple more that I still want to work with, but the list is small. I've been really lucky. Anyone you
want to mention to put it on the universe and see if that makes it happen?
Well, I want to do a joint with Primo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's something I'm gonna make happen because my man Big Shug, shout out Shug. Him and I talk about that too, and we were talking about it. So. He'd help me in any way he could. That's who he is. He's a good friend. Yeah. I'd like to do a track with Redman.
Oh, he's
one of my it's one of like my bucket list guys. Diamond D. You know what I mean? I'd like to do like a track with him where he raps and makes the beat.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I mean, and there's a couple of he's amazing. There's a couple of new people that I really like. And people like outside of hip hop that I really like. You said earlier that you used to go to a lot of raves and stuff.
Yeah.
And I used to go to those raves too. I had a lot of my friends and stuff. And we used to go and listen to like Frankie Bones sets and Lady Kurt when she used to spit Toe to Toe from D-Light.
Yeah, the guy who I interviewed that I mentioned about this magazine, Frankie Bones is on his label. Moonshine.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know exactly who he is.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, because I'm like, that label meant everything to me. And so basically going to those raves. Label. Yeah, the first time I went to those.
Did you go to like Purple and Blue and all those?
I would go to the ones in Fitchburg. Like it was like Wish Upon a Star and Inhale, Exhale, and then I started going out to Springfield to the Asylum, and that was like that moment in your life where you're like, I think I got to start slowing things down.
Yeah. Listen, so I hear you. Okay, so the raves that we went to, this is before your time. So
mine were probably a little more more legit.
Well, we went to New York. We went to New York. Went to Greenfield, Connecticut. We went to all these places. We went to the Roxy in New York. Man, it was wild, man. And that was the first. Okay, we was in New York City. Frankie Bones was on the main floor. Then that was the first place I ever heard Jungle when Jungle first came out. Right, came over
Wild.
from London. They dropped. It was wild. Then they had a hip hop room in New York City. Okay, and when I walked in, Stretch Armstrong was DJing. I was like, yo, you people are bugging, man. I was like, what? I was like, I'm like, okay, just Stretch Armstrong DJing a hip hop set at this rave. This is bugged out. I was like, yo, I'm never leaving New York City. I'm like, I'm staying here, man. That's the shit you don't ever see. Yeah. Frankie Bones on the main stage. He's in the hip hop room. They got some dude from the UK spinning Jungle, which I never heard before. I was bugging. I was like, yo, it was great. Those are great times. But a lot like a lot of music that I listen to now is like descendants of that stuff. Like I listen to a lot of wave. Like I like chill wave, hard wave.
Love shit like that, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And like my favorite new artist who I want to work with is Skeller.
Skeller.
Dude. Oh, listen. Look up Skeller, look up Otsu Underground, look up Voices in My Head, and then listen. Dude. Voice Skeller. Skeller, not two L's, just one. Dude.
All right, yo, listen. This after.
That and Otsu Underground. If you just type in Skeller, Otsu, OTSU Underground will come up. And if that shit don't remind you of like a wave version of like some boot camp music, you'll see what I'm saying when you
can't wait to hear this. You know, have you ever heard the song? You ever heard the Big Daddy Kane song "Off Limits," where he raps over a drum and bass beat by Aphrodite? Dude, that song. Why isn't that song playing all day every time? Every time that's like the perfect song when you're at the gym. You're just like, I could run for like 3 hours in that song. Then Rod Digga's got a song on that same album too.
So it's it's wild because certain stuff catches at certain times and other things don't. But when you find those gems, you got like my playlist is wild. The only time I really listen to other hip hop music is when I'm at the gym. Yeah, like I don't listen to, and it's all stuff that I already know. Like very rarely do I listen or ingest any new hip hop because if I'm writing and recording, I don't listen to any. I might listen to some old stuff. But I listen to mostly wave, chill wave, or lo-fi or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be influenced. And that wave music and lo-fi does something to my writing process that I can't explain, but it helps.
Yeah, it's almost like ASMR because I mean that's sort of the way that sort of music really just hits you on that special wavelength where it's kind of like it's like cooler yacht rock. It's like it's just got a nice
But that wave shit is something else though. Like that because I like some of these. I like the younger kids. I hear their music and I like some of them. You know what I mean? And there was some of the younger generation that you know what I mean. Like I like that kid. I like that kid Juice WRLD. He was. I thought he was really special, man. I thought he could have really done some damage out here. You know, it's a shame he died.
I know it is. It's funny too that as we get older, when I just read the recent book that I think Justin Tinsley's the guy's name, wrote this awesome book on Biggie, and you forget just how young he was. Like we're now like 20 years, 25 years older than he was when he died.
That. He died,
I think he might have been 23 or 25. I think Tupac might have been 26. He might have been 23. I forget exactly, but it's just like
so whack, dude.
I know. It's just it's ridiculous over nothing. Just over absolutely.
And
nothing.
But it was over nothing too. But these these kids now, they you kids out there, man, listen, just you gotta chill a little bit with the drugs, homie.
Oh my
God. You know what I mean? Your drug the drugs we had ain't the drugs you guys got, man. Y'all is just like if you don't know what Russian roulette is, that's what y'all are doing out there. You think you're slick.
Be grateful you have legal weed. Be grateful you have
just go to the store and buy
it. And you're not going to be arrested for like smelling like weed, like taking up edibles. It'll make you feel it's crazy. I know. I mean, it's just like every time I think about Mac Miller, every time I think about Mac Miller, my heart just breaks. I can't even think about it without fucking wanting to lose it.
It's such a waste, man,
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a fucking waste, man. God, it infuriates me,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I understand. Like, I'm not telling you not to be a kid. or
Right.
have a good time. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that. Like, I'm no angel, right? Like, I
Right.
did what I did. You know what I mean? Like, just because I'm a sober guy doesn't mean I expect the whole world to be sober. And if you're not sober, I think there's something wrong with you. That's not how it works.
Right.
What I'm saying is that y'all don't have a safe place to buy drugs now.
Right.
So like those drugs that we used to get, you need to forget that. You just go to the store and buy your weed if you want to smoke weed. Or here's another concept. How about maybe not do any of it? Try that.
Yeah.
You know what I
Works.
mean?
It works
Like,
pretty well.
it does, man, because escapism only gets you so far. You know what I mean? And it's like become a time in your life where your body ain't gonna tolerate any of that.
Right. Right. Yep. That's exactly it. It's like,
So
and it's like, what is considered a normal amount of alcohol? Because I'm not a drinker either. I don't drink, but what's considered a normal amount of alcohol now is absolutely insane. Like, it's
yeah,
just,
I don't even know what it is, man. I haven't had a drink. I haven't had a drink of alcohol in almost 23 years.
wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been sober from drugs and alcohol for like 23 years.
Wow, man, that's huge, man. Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
That's
Well, thank you. I mean, I had to let it go. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I had to let it go. And
yeah,
it was killing me.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
killing me. I was like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because I have family like that. I have family that won that battle, family that lost that battle, family that are still fighting
Me
it.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
it's funny too. It's like I think a lot of people who lived around that world. It's surprising who makes it and who doesn't. And that's the thing. That's the thing you got to remember, that you are really playing Russian roulette, because it's like it's not always the ones that you think are going to be the first to go that go. A lot of those people are like cockroaches and live forever. And it's like it's funny. I'm wearing look at the jersey I'm wearing right now. Like, I mean,
yeah,
Len Bias, man. Like
Lenny.
Like that's one of the strangest stories of all time, and
So what do you know about that story?
Well, I mean, I remember. So I've never done coke, and that was the reason, because I was at the exact right age.
That's okay. I did enough. I did enough for all of us. Okay.
I appreciate taking the bullet for me.
I did your share. Okay.
Yeah. but like I think I was in like maybe third or fourth grade, but it was like that right moment where it just stuck in my head, and it was just something that I never even considered doing. I mean, I did enough weed, and like I wasn't eating candy at those raves, but but that just, and then over the years I've watched documentaries, and like it's funny when you see him, he's almost, when you look at like Mike Tyson back in the 80s, and you're like, how could anybody have beaten that man? And it's like, it's this grainy old footage, and it's just like, and Len Bias is like that too, and you see his highlights, you're like, good lord, he was a ridiculously good player. But
yeah, he was crazy, but he got together with those dudes, man. They were doing like avenues of coke.
Oh, really?
They were doing like giant gaggers, man, and then he fell out, and then instead of calling in the paramedics, man, they got rid of all the dope first and cleaned everything up. That was a wrap,
And there is a lesson for anybody out there: call the paramedics first. Like,
Well, I'm just saying, look at you kids.
Don't be there in the first place.
I'm just saying, listen, you can't. This isn't 2000. This isn't 85, 89. Like, you get some pills of powder now, man. That it's a wrap for your ass. Yeah. You're gonna get hit with that fat, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? You take like a grain of that fentanyl and put it on your hand, and your ass is done, dude.
No.
So it's like, don't even listen. I'm not trying to sound like some old dude. No. Like, I did drugs. I drank to excess. I was wild. I got in fights. I did stupid things. But you know what? I don't even know how any of you kids can even navigate this shit now, because you got to have test kits. Listen, if you got to test your drugs when you buy them shits, you might not want to do drugs.
Not a good idea.
Just saying. Yeah, maybe it's not a good idea, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's sad.
Let it go.
Yeah. We both, I'm sure, lost way too many people to stuff like that.
Dude, listen, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, me too. Let's talk about some better stuff. We were talking about our man Esoteric a few minutes ago. If there's anybody,
that's my guy, man.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny. His name comes up a lot. If you ever listen to my podcast, he'd think that like this is the Esoteric, like dedicated to his podcast.
I do actually. I do think it's the Esoteric podcast. Is he paying you?
No. I actually paid him. I got a song with me, him, and Cool Keith and Aztec coming on my new album. So.
Yo, listen, that should be dope. I love Cool Keith, man.
He hooked me up with Cool Keith too, and I really appreciated that.
I was a huge Ultramagnetic MCs guy. I love Ultramagnetic, and I thought Kool Keith was just unbelievable.
He's
Because in
had
the
like
beginning
30
said
careers and they're all great.
yeah, oh yeah, he did. But no, do you remember God Complex?
Mhm. The pre-esoteric stuff, right?
Yeah,
I,
so that was he was Seamus the God Awful. Then you had Karma, and then you had 7-0. Yeah,
is
man.
Karma now running the house an art place? There's a place called House of Rue or House of Rouleau or something that I thought it looked like he was running, but I couldn't figure out if it was the same guy or not. But I don't know.
I don't know. I saw him. I want to say last year at the Still Gold show, and I went to the Still Gold show, and Esso was there to
Yep.
open up. They opened up for Still Gold,
Oh, I
and
saw them open for Esso one night. But yeah, they're great.
yeah, and they are great. Well, I love Mo and Chris and the whole band. Archetype is like my main producer.
Yep.
He records all of my stuff. He's a that guy's one of the most talented men I've ever met in my life, and that's saying a lot. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, he's just archetype. Archetype does the majority of my work,
So
But
when
yeah,
did you
but I
guys hook
saw I
up?
saw them. So okay, this is wild. So before the bridge, where now most people go to record the bridge on the stage, um, there was one real dope place to record, and that was Waltz Audio. And Waltz Audio was above Little Stevie's BFBF on
Little
Boylston.
Stevie's. Yep.
Yeah.
I've been
Okay.
drunk there many times.
Oh yeah, who hasn't?
Yeah.
It was great. Like I was getting some pizza. It was
I
awesome.
know.
So we had Waltz Audio up there, and that was where we all started recording. And towards the end of it, um, Tom Waltz was there. The legendary Pete Pelican, Pete Boards, who's an unbelievable engineer and producer in his own right, and Tom Waltz too. Then Matty Trump was in there.
Yep.
Matty Harris now. But he was there. And then when Matt Harris went over to Cybersound, Waltz Audio it was transitioning, but they brought in other guys to run it. And Archetype started working there at the studio at Waltz Audio when these other guys were getting ready to buy it from Tom. And that was where I met Ark. And then Ark had, he was living on Newbury Street at the time. And Jesus, when was that? I want to say, oh my God, maybe 04?
Nice time to be living on
Oh,
Newberry.
yeah, 04, 05. Yeah. And we hooked up. He made a beat for me and stuff. And we would keep in touch. And then he ended up buying the bridge with Owen Curtin over there in Cambridge. And I was recording at Studio Metronome with Pete Boards. I was working on Beast Coast. Me and Strong Arm Steve. And then he called me. He's like, yo, come by and check out the studio. So I was like, all right, word. So I went there and I started recording there and I never left. I
What
never
was
left.
what was
And
that like? Because
I
it's like
brought everybody with me.
so mentioned a bunch of people I've recorded with. All of them recorded on this mic in this place. I've never really had. I've recorded at the very beginning. I got to record in some really nice studios in Boston because of just a coincidence. A friend worked there. But what was it like back then to go from like? I mean, you probably didn't have a setup like. I mean, what did you were you
No,
going from a bedroom to this? Like, what was that transition like, and what did it
no,
feel to actually get in that
I
place?
never recorded in a bedroom like that. We used to record mixtapes on G Squared on a 4-track cassette
I got
machine.
one of those right over there.
Right? We recorded there, and when we didn't have a microphone, we would use headphones.
Yeah, and that's a pain.
We
Those
just
things
plugged
are a pain in the ass.
because it sounds like ass, right?
Yeah, no
So
shit. Even
you
when
know
it
what I
comes out
mean?
great, it sounds like shit.
Yeah, it sounds like shit. But it was good enough to get the job done then. But we went right from that. I think we were recorded. We were bouncing around. Went to Clinton Sparks studio a couple times, and then we recorded with these other guys. I can't remember who they were. They were really cool though. And then we went to Waltz and we had a home there. So I never really did the mic in the bathtub bullshit. We was in a studio.
Yeah.
Finding the right producer is like finding the right barber almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you find them and you have that connection, that's home. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
I got a guy like that
and it's
too.
like I can record anywhere. Like I do record, like I record with two other people that I'm super like. I'll record with Pete Boards anywhere, but like within Massachusetts, I'll record with John Glass, who is very talented guy. He is unbelievable, and him and Melks. Melks is a great producer too. Shout out to John Glass and Melks, and also Sean Matthias.
Of course, yeah,
over
I know
at Cloak.
Matthias.
All right,
we had him on a few episodes. That dude's the best, man. Both of those dudes are the best.
Him and Sizzlack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cloak and Dagger. Shout out Cloak and Dagger. I got a project that me and Sean have got. I've got it written.
Nice.
I just got to record. Yeah. It's called Cleve Dean. It's unbelievable, man. It's 5 joints, man. It's just
awesome.
Hard body. I think I'm gonna get G-Fan to get on one because him and I did one like 3 years ago, and you know I love that guy. So I'm like, yo, man, I did one for your record. You got to do one for mine. He's like, word.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's great. Work with those guys.
Yeah. Oh, they're great, man. They make great beats too, you know?
Yeah. They were someone like, so I knew Matthias a little bit back in the day, and then when I disappeared for 10 years to go live a different life, and I came back and I'm like, all these people had gotten so much, they were already talented and they got so much more talented. It was like we all went off on our separate corners to learn, and then kind of like Pillsy Beats. I don't know if you know him. He's the one that I'm doing 2 EPs with him now, and it's like we hadn't really worked together for years, and it's just he's amazing now. So it's great these people actually put the time in. It's like this is what you do when you're not doing drugs. It's like you're doing like this shit, like you're spending your time, like, you know.
Bro, I took 10 years off. I took 10 years off, and I was stone sober. So it was like for me, I just I lost the desire to make it. I lost a lot of people, and then I lost myself.
Yeah.
You know, I spent my life, you know, living in the shadows of my regrets and failures, and instead of like being in the light, and I couldn't do it. And then something happened to me, and it changed me, and I no longer had to prove myself to anybody. I didn't need anybody's blessing. You know what I mean? And once that happened, everything changed. Because listen, that Heavy Hands record that you heard is a dope record, and that's a collection of music that spans over 15 years, and I'm proud of it.
Yep.
But the next album I got, the Apex Predator Smart Bomb music. Shout out to Smart Bomb, my homies, Rock the Wolf and Sergeant Barnes, Dr. Hooligan. They are a collective. They're two of my dearest friends. I love them both. And I've been really lucky to be a part of that project. I'm executive producing that project with the Archetype. So I've been curating all the beats and helping with the hooks. And the Apex Predator is the 3rd single off of their album. That's with Ill Bill. The one we did before that was Wasteland with Big Sugar, which Premier shared on his page. Primo shared it on his IG, which is wild.
Yeah.
And then the first one was Rockness Monster. That was called Euthanasia. But the next album I got coming is Secrets and Lies. Mm-hmm. And I also have a podcast that I've been tweaking over the last year called Secrets and Lies, which is going to be dope. I got some comedy skits that I'm going to be releasing called Shit I Don't Say. It's XL the Beat, Shit I Don't Say. It's just little clips, you know what I mean? Funny little 1-2 clips. So we get that. And then but the new album, I'm getting ready to release my next single within the next 2 months is me and Block McCloud.
Oh wow.
And that's my guy, right? I love that dude, right? And the name of the record is called Fingerprints. But you're gonna bug out, man, because there's a lot more singing on my next, because I can really sing.
Yeah, because that was when I watched the video today for Apex Predator. I didn't realize that was you singing on the hook, but
all those hooks is me.
Yeah, dude, you got a voice, man.
Thank you. Yeah, and I like all those hooks, like the hooks I did hooks on all the Smart Bomb joints. I did on the Murder Pig with me and Ill Bill. That was the first single off of my next record. I did that one, The World Today, like all the hooks that you hear singing on, with the exception of one on Heavy Hands, that's all me singing. So Archetype has really been working with me to bring along my singing, and I do a lot of that now. So it's gonna.
So did you ever take any singing classes? Was that something that came natural, or because it was
natural, and it was always there. I just back when I started rapping, nobody wanted to hear you singing on a rap song. So if you did that, you was soft as hell.
You were Ja Rule. Like because that was like,
But no, that's way before Ja Rule.
Oh,
I'm talking like NWA, then Death Certificate. Like do the New Jack Swing on my nutsack. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we were coming out of that Teddy Riley New
Well,
Jack
take that,
Swing era.
Tony.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, they do the New Jack Swing on my nutsack. Like, nobody wanted to hear that. You know what I mean? So you weren't singing in songs like,
unless you were Heavy D, you weren't really getting away with it.
It's different, man.
I know.
He was the Hebster.
I know. That dude does not get so people today were talking about that dude has not got his flowers yet this year. So
yeah, so I'm excited. I got a bunch of new music coming out. The new Smart Bomb stuff's coming out. I just did a banger with Rusty Jukes for Leeds' next project.
Yeah.
Woo, man. And I'm going in the studio this weekend with Smart Bomb. We got a new joint that we're doing, a new single that's going to be out in like 2 months. I'm not even going to tell you who the guest spot is for that yet. That's just wild. Got a beat from my homeboy Johnny Slash. I want to shout out Leeds. I want to shout out Archetype, my producer. I want to shout out Nickel Plated, my producer. I want to shout out Johnny Slash, and you know what I mean. I want to shout you out and thank you for having me in here. I want to shout out my homie my homie Scott Sandinato, Sando Films.
Yeah.
And all my Boston people that ride with me, I love y'all, man, for real.
Yeah, dude, man, we love you. It's like it's just so awesome to be able to talk about some of this history. I mean, now that we're a little older, and you realize if we don't talk about it, no one's going to remember it. And it's like there weren't that many of these articles, and like it was funny. I posted it. Yeah, I took the picture of this, and then I think Esso saw it and found the actual picture and put it up. And I was just like, for a moment, I was like, I'm kind of proud that like this was a little pushed out there and that people started remembering this a little bit, because it's like, I mean, even like Acrobatic and Mr. Lift, they received the MIA for years, and now they're back, which is awesome. So,
dude, I love those guys, man. Yeah, I love all of those guys. I love all of them, man. Let me tell you something, okay? All of those guys in this city, and guys that ain't on there, you know what I mean? Guys like my man Big Juan, rest in peace. My homeboy Jason, my man Smitty, my man Damo. All these guys, like they were like a part of the archetypes of like my creation and who I was. You know what I mean? Guys that like might not be on there. All of these people, Esso, 7L, Karma, the Checkmark, the Schizophrenics, Eddie Bones, Ed OG, everybody, all of these big Shugs,
John Cena,
but all these guys that were in my life that I met through hip hop, they enriched my life and made my life better. My life is improved, and the quality of my life and my life's experience is amazing because I got to meet and have interactions with these people and share ideas and thoughts and watch them perform and be inspired by them and learn shit from them. You know what I mean? And it's like my life is better for all of them. And I'm grateful for each and every one of them, their contributions to music, to our friendships, to our relationships, all of that. It means a lot. And you need to say that to people because, tomorrow is promised to nobody. Okay? And you can never let the day go down. If you have the opportunity to tell these people that you love them and that you appreciate them and everything that they did for you, do that shit.
If it feels weird, keep doing it till it doesn't. It's like,
man, listen, if it feels weird, then you're a small, insecure little person. You need to work on yourself.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you just keep pushing. It's like it's nuts. I mean, these Boston in hip hop has a very recognized real to it, I feel. And it's like there's been people I thought that I'd never be friendly with because we didn't hit it off right away, but over time we recognized the real in each other, and it's like better for it, man. It's like it's a place we can all agree on one thing, that hip hop's fucking awesome.
Enrichment. It's enrichment, okay? And it don't matter, man. Just keep it a buck for the culture and don't shit on it. Don't ruin it. Don't disrespect it. If you don't like something, listen, you never make yourself look good trying to make someone else look bad.
Exactly.
I'm tired. I don't agree with everybody who just wants to say like all this new shit is trash, and then or that the old people are just angry. That you miss me with all that energy. I don't want none of that energy in my lane or in my life. Let these young kids eat. If you don't like their music, well, guess what, homie? Then it's probably not for you.
Right. You're not living in their world.
Keep it moving. Yeah. Nah, man, these are kids, man. Let them get out here and eat. And you want to know something? You'd be surprised some of us old heads like it You might not hear us bumping it, but it don't mean we don't know who you
Right.
are and respect you. We're gonna play the shit that we like. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it, you know what I mean? That's not hating. It's just is what I like.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
like marinara sauce, maybe I like Alfredo. It doesn't mean that I
Right.
hate marinara. I just prefer this over that.
And
It's
these
the same
kids will
shit. You
grow
know
and
what I mean?
evolve too. I mean, it's like they're at the beginning of their
Yes.
career and they're going to have a lot of time to make, mistakes and make great music and make,
They're
it's
our kids. You
yeah.
understand that? These are our children. Hip hop is 50 years old.
I
That is it.
know. I
It's
know.
only 50 years old. It's so
It's so
new.
young. Yeah.
You know,
It's like
like these kids, how can I hate these kids when they directly influenced and descended from my generation and stuff, moves that we made and everything else? I want them to succeed.
yeah,
You
me
know, I
too.
want them to succeed. You
Yeah.
know,
That's part of the fun, man.
it is
Um
part of the fun.
yeah.
It is.
I know we got to wrap up soon, but I wanted to ask you, since I don't know if you have any stories related to this man, but I always like bringing up his name. Today would have been the 52nd birthday of MF Doom.
Yeah.
And he to me was one of the ultimate inspirations and just a very special person. It's always a good
Zev
time to give him
Zev Love
Love
X, man. I
X.
love Doom, man. I knew
Yeah.
him from back then. And the first time I actually heard Zev Love X because I didn't know who he was when I heard him on the Gas Face.
Yep. Third base.
And I was like, yo, this dude's dope. And then my man had a bunch of records. My man Dave had a bunch of records. He bust me down, and I listened to a lot of it. And then it was wild. Like I kind of got into back then. You just kind of got into zones of shit that you listened to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was kind of like maybe a little bit snobby.
Oh,
So like I
we all
got
went through those
really.
periods.
So I listened like I'm a big boot camp guy and I'm a big Gangstar guy and I was kind of like stuck in those worlds for a long time. Redman guy, but I always kept tabs on Doom, and then I kind of got away from it, got away from Doom for a while, like I was steady listening, and then
He didn't always make it easy to
and
be a fan because he'd disappear for long periods of time, and
he
then he just
disappeared for long
yeah.
periods of times. Then he would send imposters to do his
I
shows and
know.
shit,
Isn't that
you know.
wild?
And then I didn't see Doom for a while, and then my man Sean Price died, which is whack because we're
Yeah.
coming up on his
Oh, God,
anniversary,
we've lost too many
and
people like that.
and um and then so he died, and then I hadn't even thought of Doom, and then it was like 3 or 4 days after Sean died, and Doom popped up, posted a video, and he was on a sailboat,
I remember that video. He had the hat on over
and
the mask. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he was like, "Yo, Sean, man, I'll see you when I get over there. I'll
Yeah.
see you when I get over there." You know what I mean? And I was like, "Oh, damn, Doom! I forgot all about Doom." Sean liked Doom a lot too, so. And then I got back on it and started listening to some Doom, and damn, it sucks, man.
I know.
It sucks. He was so dope, man. He was really a super original. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Someday they're gonna
there
make
was
a
no
movie
part
on
of
the story of Doom, and it's his story from start to finish is really fascinating, and
well,
someone's
yeah.
gonna
Well,
nail
now
it.
there's this girl that I started reading and following. I never knew who she was, but her name is I think Walasia,
Oh, funny you
and
mentioned that because so I was gonna reach out to her. I interviewed a kid. I don't want to call him a kid. I think he's in his 20s who wrote the Mad Villain 33 in a third book. And
yeah,
she's mentioned a lot in that book. And specifically, he
yes,
mentioned that like the only reason I think Peanut Butter Wolf or one of the other guys from Stone Throat even
yes.
agreed to be a part of the book was disagree with what she was saying. And I was
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah. So if you want to check out the episode because it's probably worded better than that. But yeah, so
Okay, so
she's a
what
fascinating
episode?
woman.
What is that on? Yeah, she is a
It's
fascinating
my
one.
podcast where it's me talking to that guy. It's me talking to the guy who
Yep.
wrote the book, and then we talk about her a bunch because he interviewed her a
So
lot for the book.
would you please send me the link to that
We'll do. Yeah.
so that I can watch that?
Yep.
So Peanut Butter Wolf or something here. I want to hear about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is fascinating. I never knew who she was, but she posted a lot of stuff. I saw her on Twitter,
I was
and
following that.
yeah. So I started posting a lot of stuff. Like one time I faced Doom. I think is that her book or something.
It might be.
I think. Yeah, I think she said it one time I faced Doom. It's a book that she's got coming out about MF
Oh,
Doom.
cool. That's me fascinating. I should reach out
Yeah,
to her, see if she wants to be on it. I
yeah,
mean,
you should. You should reach out to her. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
She
it's
seems very interesting.
yeah, she does, she does. And the other thing too is it's got me
I
thinking
love the
about it.
history stuff.
Yeah, me too. I was in talk. This was a real heartbreaking one for me. I had been talking to Shock G's manager about a month before he passed, and I was supposed to get a song to. She said he didn't say yes to a lot of things anymore, and as I realized what he was going through at the time, I realized he probably would have never happened. But like that to me, and then I woke up one day and he was gone. And Shock G to me was the guy who essentially told me through the TV it was okay for me to make rap music because I saw him do it because I was always a little different. I wasn't a tough kid. I didn't come from a tough neighborhood, but I saw him doing something different. And I'm like, that tells me it's okay. And I've always
that's the freedom. Yeah, I love Shock G for that
I
too,
was
man. He
I
was
never
a
got a
lot
chance.
of fun.
I was at a perceptionist show with Murs in the Troubadour
Murs, shout out Murs.
Yeah, in LA one day years ago, and I'm at the bar and I hear this voice behind me, this tall dude just macking hard on these two women. I'm like, how do I know who that is? I couldn't figure who it was. And later on stage, Humpty Hump comes out. I was like, that was him. And I probably wouldn't have interrupted him then anyway, but like what a
the one that put the satin on your panties. Oh man, yeah, I love that too, man.
Dude, those are records too that go back and listen to all of those. There's a lot of fun in those records. A lot of cool guests. I think there's a Big Pun guest appearance on one of the Digital Underground albums. This probably doesn't get heard a lot.
Remember that.
I think it's on the What's the Gravy album. I mean, it's like there's so much, and that was one thing too that like there was a period in Boston hip hop when around like the mid 2000s, everyone's like, I'm bringing it back to that old school sound. I want to bring it back to '94. I want to bring it back to '92. But there's so much music from that that it's authentic that people haven't heard yet. Go back and listen to that real stuff and make today's music now.
People don't have the attention span to do that. You have it has
so
to
rewarding.
It has to be. It is. But you have to want to seek that knowledge. You know what I mean? You have to want to seek that experience. And unless it's in a 30-second reel or a TikTok video or something like that, and it has visuals to go with it that catch people's attention, they half of them ain't going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I want to be the guy that finds that song that people forgot about and gets to share it with people. That's like, to me, that's exciting. It's like, because that's how you make friends with music.
For me, I just want to make my music. You know what I mean? I want to make the music that I want to make now, and I want to I'm start doing a lot more shows now. So I'm gonna start doing like smaller venues just so I can interact with my audience more and have a lot more fun. You know, because I was out there. I had a show at the Middle East a couple weeks ago.
At the Black Madden show.
You know, Black Badine. Yeah.
Oh, I've been saying that. I always say that wrong. Sorry,
Black
Badine. All good.
Yeah, Black Medina and Rusty Jukes.
Yep.
And I was great. It was really honored to be included in that. So I went up there and I tore that shit down. And I was like, man, let's do some more of these.
Yeah, once you get that bug back, you're like,
oh, it's so good. I just love. I like entertaining people, man. I like making music, sharing my music and humor with people, and they like it too. So it makes somebody feel good. That makes me feel good too, Yeah. So let's do it. So we're gonna start doing some more shows like that. I'm excited. I've got like 14 songs already recorded for Secrets and Lies. Nice. I've got a couple of so I'm excited about that. No really huge features on the record. It's mostly just me. I might have like one or two, but they'll just be really, really concise.
Yeah.
Ones, you know what I mean? Like me and Slane will probably do one because we always do one.
Yeah.
Me and Rockness will probably do one because we always do one. And I get the fans, got to feed the. Yeah, that's it. But it's other than that, nothing wild.
Yeah. That's cool, man. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you much longer. I mean, we could talk.
Yeah, no, me too. But I got to wrap up. I got some stuff I got to do here. I want to go check on Zoe and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man. And I really appreciate this. We'll definitely keep in touch, man. Thank you so much. XL the Beast. Check him out everywhere. All right, man.
All right, baby. Peace.
Peace.